special coming to speak with us today. In lieu of our games, our field day games, we have someone who has completed a triathlon for a couple of years. This is Stu, and he has been dubbed an Ironman. All right, so we have a true Ironman in our midst. All right, so he's going to talk to you about his experiences, okay? All right, give him a round of applause.
Hey, everybody. Who knows what a triathlon is? A few hands. Who doesn't have any idea what a triathlon is? Okay, so let me tell you what a triathlon is first for those who don't know. A triathlon is a sport where you swim first, and then you take a long bicycle ride, and then you run. And they come in all different distances. They're called sprint triathlons. There's an Olympic triathlon. And then there's a big race called the Ironman triathlon. Have you heard of an Ironman triathlon? Ooh, a lot of people have. So the Ironman triathlon is a really cool, it's called an endurance event. Now, how many people here would be interested in doing a triathlon? Oh, there's a lot of hands.
All right.
They're really cool.
The cripple.
So let me tell you a little bit about why I started to do triathlon. When I was little, maybe your age, around your age, there were people that kept telling me things that I couldn't do. I wasn't allowed to run real far. Anyone ever feel like that? And people tell you, oh, don't run too much. Or be careful, don't exert too much energy, right? You know what they used to say about me? I was too slow. They told me I wasn't athletic enough. And they told me all these reasons why I wasn't good at sports or I couldn't compete in sports. And then one day, it took me a long time to realize that, wait a second, I think I can. And once I learned that lesson, I tried my first triathlon. I first started by walking lots and lots. I wasn't even ready to run yet. And then I bought a bicycle. Do we have any bike riders here? Yeah. Any swimmers? Ooh, see, you guys are ahead of the game. I didn't even learn how to swim until I was 35 years old.
Wow.
I didn't even know how to swim. I used to go in the pool and do what they call the doggy paddle, right? My kids used to go into the pool and say, Dad, you're not even swimming. I had to learn how to swim. And so then I did my first triathlon. It was what we call a sprint. It was a small swim, a small bike, and then a small run. And a few years later, I thought I would be an Ironman. Now, when I thought of Ironman, I thought of the superhero Ironman, right? Anyone think of that one? Yeah. This is a different kind of Ironman. So who knows the distances? We had a lot of people that know what an Ironman is. Does anyone know how far you have to swim in an Ironman?
26.
Elle?
A mile.
Ooh, close. Liam guessed a mile. Peyton?
I think it was a mile and a half, right?
Ooh, you're getting even closer. It's 2.4 miles, almost 2.5 miles that you have to swim. And there's 2,000 people that get in the water at the same time. And we have to swim almost 2.5 miles, 2.4 miles.
And this camp isn't even 2 miles around. So think about that.
Yeah.
Farther and longer than these campgrounds. Swimming.
So then, after that, you towel off real quick, and everyone's cheering for you, and then I have to go on a bicycle ride. Now, who here has ridden around their neighborhood a couple times, right? Yep, lots of good bikers here, I can tell. Who knows how far you have to bike in an Ironman? Peyton thinks he has it, you know?
4 miles?
Sorry, 4?
Yeah, 4 miles maybe.
Oh, that's a good start.
4.5, I think.
Close. 5.5, that's another good guess. Okay, you guys ready? 3 miles, that's another good guess.
What, 6?
How long do you think it's a drive from Prescott, where we are here, to downtown Phoenix?
Oh my God.
How long do you think?
99?
It's about 100 miles. We have to bike 112 miles after we get out of the water. 112. Now, how long do you think that might take? A long time. No, not overnight. But when you get off that bike, guess what you have to do?
Run!
Run! And how long do you think you have to run?
I had a different question.
Sorry, Sean?
I had a different question.
Oh, well, how about if I take questions in just 1 second? We'll go over the run distance, then I'm going right to you, Sean. Yeah, Peyton.
I just want to ask you something. Is it more than
Yeah,
I
we do
just want to
that.
have a hint. Is it
Yeah, he
more
wants a
than the
hint.
biking?
Not more than biking. So that's your hint.
5 miles?
You have to run a full 26.2-mile marathon after you get off the bicycle. Now, guys, I want to tell you something. I was once someone that was told, I can't do this, I can't run fast, I can't bike with my friends, I was too slow, I was unathletic. And I want to tell you that if you make your mind up and you decide you can do something, anything is possible. I didn't even know how to swim 6 years ago. Think about all those times where people might tell you, you can't. No. And I want you to remember all those times so many of us feel that, and it's up to us to decide exactly what you want to do. So I brought a couple of my medals around. Now you actually have 17 hours. Someone asked me if you have to bike overnight. And you don't have to bike overnight. In fact, you have 17 hours to finish this race. So you have to do all that by the time you get up in the morning and before you go to bed at midnight. So that's your time limit. And so this one was my first Ironman. This one was the lesson where I was reminded that you can decide anything you can do. That's what this medal means to me. This was the first time I did an Ironman. It took me 13 hours and 1 minute to do that race. And this is a very special medal that they give you when they cross, because they say less than 1% of the world will ever think of doing something like this, let alone cross that finish line. So you can pass this around if you want to feel. It's a pretty heavy medal they hang around your neck. And after you're done exercising that whole day, it's a really heavy medal because you can barely lift up your arms, you're so tired.
Be very careful with it, guys.
This medal is my second Ironman. I just did this last November, and I do both of these right in Phoenix. And this medal is really special because after I finished my first Ironman, I thought, you know what? Not only do I know I can do things that I decide I can do, but I can do it even better. And I can surprise a lot of people. And so for this one, I trained even harder than the last one. And for the people that told me I was really slow, guess what I did? I beat the time by over an hour. And this one I did in less than 12 hours, 11 hours and 52 minutes.
Wow.
So that whole race in 11:52, that's that second Ironman. So it sounds like there may be some questions about the race and maybe why I do it and things like that. So I think Sean had his first question. What's on your mind?
As I was driving from Yuma out here, I saw like a lot of people on their bikes going up the mountains.
Yeah. Yep, so when I go and I ride my bike from my house, who here lives in Phoenix? A lot of people live in the Phoenix area, a few people. So to give you an idea, just this weekend I rode my bicycle from Phoenix down to Saguaro Lake, if you know where Saguaro Lake is, down into Mesa, and up through Scottsdale, and that was about a 75-mile bike ride. So sometimes on my training rides, those are my rides that you just you go for my bike ride. So those are really long. When you see people on the road and they're hunched over on they're called aero bars, those are people training for triathlons like Ironman.
So on the swimming, you said it was 2.4 miles.
Yeah.
Now, is that going there and back?
Yeah.
So it's 1.2 out, 1.2 in?
Correct. So we swam in Tempe Town Lake at ASU, and it's a big course, and they have big buoys in the water. And it's 1.2 miles out, you turn around, and 1.2 miles back. 2.4 miles. Yeah. Yeah, but that's what's really cool, and that's a really great point. Do you have to do an Ironman to be happy about the things you want to do? No. It's about doing what makes you happy. I like Ironman because of what it does for me. But sometimes, for some of you, it might be shooting a basketball. When people told you, well, I'm not the best basketball player, and practicing and getting better. For someone else, it might be the jumping jack champion, right? It doesn't have to be doing an Ironman. And so when people do a 5K race, that's just as important, or running around the block is just as cool and just as important as doing an Ironman or anything else. Great point. Yeah, Peyton.
What were you like? Why did you want to do the second Ironman? I mean, after thinking of probably were you like really in pain after the first one?
Yeah.
Have you ever had second thoughts and maybe I don't want to be in this kind of pain again?
That's a great question because and you brought up a point I didn't bring up. It's very painful, that race. You're so tired, your whole body hurts. Everything in your body says, stop. And so after my first one, I thought to myself, guess what I'm never doing again? I'm never doing another Ironman. And that's okay if you don't. There's lots of people that stop after one. And I actually struggled with that. I used to lose sleep. Do I do another Ironman or do I do something else? Or do I not do it anymore at all? And I decided that for me, it was important that I keep trying this distance of triathlon and try to get better. Just try. Because for me, just trying is really special. Because if I don't try, then I don't know. It's just a part of who I am. I always like to try.
So what you're saying is you don't want to lose without even trying. You want, and if you do lose, you want to lose trying your best.
Thank you. You said it better than me. That's wonderful. Yes. Yep. Great question.
Why are you gonna do this?
Oh, you want to ask me that one? I thought that was going to come from Peyton. So, I did sign up for a third, and I signed up for it this November to do it again. And I'm not sure if I can do it because I'm moving from Arizona to Minnesota. Anyone know where Minnesota is?
Bless you.
Way north. And there is an Ironman over there in Wisconsin, right next door, but I'm not signed up for that one yet. So, I don't know if I can do this one, but I'm not saying no. How about that? And my daughter, who's around the same age as some of you, she's going to turn 10. She told me when she's 18 and she's old enough to do an Ironman that she'd like to do one with Dad. So I know I have at least one more in me, if not more. Great question.
I'll substitute in for you. For
Nice.
that one in November. I got you. I got you.
All right. All right.
Tyler, you need 44 hours.
Yeah, can we extend the time? Just a smidge.
Yes, sir.
Probably a couple years.
What's the fastest Ironman time? Do you have any idea?
So the fastest, that's a great question. So they give you up to, does anyone remember how many hours they give you?
17.
They give you 17. My best time was what?
11:52.
Whoa, Tyler, nice. The best in the world? One guess, I need one guess. Peyton.
Probably a couple hours.
Well, more than a couple hours. Nacho, one more time. What do you think?
I just had a question.
Oh, okay. Well, how about this? I'll tell you. 8.5 hours. People do all that in 8.5 hours. Are you kidding me? Now, those people are full-time professional triathletes, just like there's professional baseball players and basketball players. These are professional triathletes, and that's the time they do it. Nacho, what's your question?
Well, I had a connection, kind of. When I was young, I didn't know how to swim, and my parents said I couldn't swim, but I got on the waterfall and I jumped in and I started swimming.
See? And it's stuff like that that is just as cool as doing an Ironman. It's sometimes you know in your heart what you can do. And so always remember that. And that whenever I talk to my own kids, and I talk to the people that I'm friends with, or even the people I work with, we talk about doing things that other people might think you can't do, or say, nah, don't do that, it's too difficult or too hard. Know that within all of us, we all have a mini Ironman somewhere. And it might not be a triathlon, it might be that time where you jump off and start swimming, where you jump off and you start biking or playing baseball. So thank you for sharing your time with me today. If anyone wants to ask me any questions throughout the day, I'm happy to. But just thanks for everything you're doing. I'm having a lot of fun with you. All right?